Hey there, welcome back. Well, before I get to tonight's topic, I want to give a big shout out to Bruce Naylor. You also know him as the Frugal Tech here on YouTube. He uploaded a insightful, terrific video about a week, 10 days ago. I think it was entitled "Being a YouTuber When Passion Isn't Enough." A lot of good common sense information out there inside that video, and I wanted to expand on that, so I will use what he said as a template on what I want to expand from his video and some of the information that he posted in that video. Alright, so let's get right to it. YouTube when passion isn't enough. So we're talking about subscriptions, views, the amount of people subscribing and the amount of viewership. Now he talks about staying relevant and maintaining relevance. So why do people watch YouTube? Well, he is correct when he says there's basically two reasons: entertainment and or knowledge. Now I want you to keep this in mind because I will expand on this towards the end. So when I started YouTube well, it's been about 6.5 years now. Thank you, by the way. And I started it because about 10 years ago I was exposed to Linux software and the Linux desktop. I started dabbling in some Linux. I stopped. I started again back in 2009, and my interest peaked with that form of technology. So I wanted to get more information because at the time I was basically a newbie when it came to Linux. So I started watching videos on YouTube, and at the time I was rather disappointed on the lack of quality, truthful content when it came to, say, Linux versus Windows, because that's what I've used many years. So I thought to myself, instead of complaining, don't complain, do something about it. So I started posting my own videos based on my real world experiences of using Linux compared to Windows. Real experiences, real reviews, as it were. And that's how I got started on YouTube. So for me, it wasn't really so much about entertainment as it was more about gaining knowledge. So again, people watch YouTube because of entertainment and or knowledge. Now, several years later, when I joined forces with Spatry, from Spatry's Cup of Linux, and started doing those ridiculous news and nonsense reports, then it became, I suppose, a combination of entertainment and knowledge. But for me in the beginning it was pure knowledge. He talks about vlogs. I do some vlogs. I don't do a lot of vlogs. I do them usually in my car because usually either a topic that morning or something I've remembered, something comes to mind, something happened, maybe something in the car, and I need to get it out then to keep it fresh. I think vlogs are important is that they give you, the viewer, and me, the speaker, a chance to connect in that moment in time on a more personal human level. You know, an example would be, hey, I got up this morning, had to go to buy a new computer, got a flat tire, got the tire fixed, then my battery died, I had to buy a new battery, then this happened. By the way, it's never happened to me, by the way. I hope not to you. But I think talking about that, I think that gives a chance to connect on a more human level, and it makes the person, I guess for lack of a better term, it makes that person more human, more real, as something that you may be able to sympathize with, especially if that has happened to you. So vlogs are important. I do not do daily vlogs because that can get a little bit monotonous, a little bit stale, not too exciting unless you really have something to say every single day in a vlog style video. I suppose that's possible, but I usually leave those to spread out during the week, talking about a news item or items, a new Linux distribution or something going on with Windows, or on the Sunday night news and nonsense reports. So vlogs are important, but as Bruce correctly stated, vlogs equals a very short shelf life. Alright, technology vids. I do mainly technology vids, not all the time, but a high percentage, and this has become an overcrowded genre. 6, 7, 8 years ago, this may not have been the case, but look, there's a lot of people doing reviews on hardware, software, unboxings. They certainly can have their purpose and their value, but unless you are bringing something different to the tables, a sense of original thinking, a sense of style, that can get stale rather quickly also. So he is correct when Bruce is correct when he says that technology vids is an overcrowded genre. Okay, and he says also that in terms of these types of videos, you may be only as good as your last video. I believe that to be completely true. So what does this mean? Well, it means that with an overcrowded genre and increased competition, this can lead to less revenue. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I can't remember, YouTube opened the partnerships to everyone who was in good standing to basically become a partner with YouTube. Terrific opportunity, I suppose, but from what I saw, this pretty much led to the floodgates being opened to very questionable quality content, in my opinion. So what do we have here? We have increased competition. There are so many viewers to go around, there's only so much money to go around, and for some people that means less revenue to keep their respective channel or channels growing, and that can lead to a problem. And I think that's what Bruce was getting to when he uploaded this video. Now there are some options, some good, viable options to keep the channel alive. You've heard of Patreon, PayPal donations has been that's been going on a long time. GoFundMe is something relatively new. I've seen at least 1 or 2 YouTubers use that successfully. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as you find value in what the speaker is trying to convey to you. YouTube partnerships or YouTube networks, I get frequent email requests to join these types of networks. Thank you, first of all, but something like a network, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but unless you have, I was going to say 1 million, but that's high. Unless you have, say, hundreds of thousands subscribers or 500,000, I don't know how much or how far a YouTube network can take you or help you into growing your channel. Now, those of you who have signed up for this, let me know. I am curious. But in my humble opinion, unless you have, say, 500,000 subs, I don't know how far or how good a network can help you. Sponsors, however, I do believe is a great way to grow the channel. Be careful not to sign contracts with the sponsor that only want positive reviews on a product that may or may not be positive, if you know what I mean. So what is the solution that Bruce is getting at? Well, this is something that I talked about not too long ago, but make videos that both entertain and educate, excuse me, entertain and educate or enlighten. This can lead to long-term relevancy and what he calls long tail or evergreen videos. This really leads to what I call didactic, a word that's very important in my vocabulary. Now he also mentions here, before I wrap this up, avoid viral video thinking, no one-hit wonders, and be passionate and informative in your topics. One-hit wonders, a friend of a friend here in town, you may have heard of the band Wild Cherry. The lead singer wrote the song years ago, Play That Funky Music. I'm sure you've heard the song either on the radio or in commercials. It was a monster hit years ago, but it turned out to be their only big hit. The band lasted about 4 years and they faded away. Now, they didn't plan it that way, but that's what can happen with one-hit wonders or banking on a video going viral. It can certainly happen, but that's not the way to really run a YouTube channel. I would concentrate on videos that are both educational and enlightening, and have your own style, as it were, your own personality, and give some value to people that are watching you. Finally, Yes, my favorite word is didactic. A combination of both something that is entertaining, and informative or enlightening. What are the best movies? The Godfather, Part 1 and 2, A Few Good Men, Lincoln, a great movie that both entertains and educates you into a piece of history here in the United States. Videos are best when they are didactic. They give you some information that you may have found useful, or maybe you never thought about it before. Maybe along the way you laughed. So what would be an example of a topic, a video that is didactic? Well, let's say I don't cook. As an Italian, I love to eat, but I don't cook. But let's say I wanted to do a cooking video. And I could say something like, okay, you go down to the store and make sure you buy the best pasta. And then you buy the sauce to make the fettuccine alfredo. Make sure you say hello to the bellissima girl working behind the counter. Now I'm being silly here. But, you know, you could say something like that in a light-hearted, funny way, be entertaining. But then you have to give the proper information. Okay, so to make fettuccine alfredo, which sounds terrific right now, by the way. You have to buy the pound of pasta and then the sauce and these specific spices, cook to this temperature, and make sure you stir and all that. That would be, in my opinion, a video, if you were a cook, on how to make a video that is didactic. Information on one hand, entertainment on the other. You combine those two, and I think that can lead to videos that will have a longer shelf life, as it were. So that's what I have to say about making sense out of the business of YouTube. Once again, thank you to Bruce Naylor here on YouTube. I will have a link to that video below in the show notes. It's a bit long video, a bit longer, about 20-21 minutes. Make sure you watch the whole thing. In my opinion, that's one of the most informative videos I've seen on YouTube in a long time, and how to make sense on the business of YouTube. Alright, well, if I missed anything, or if you have any advice, please let me know below in the comments. As always, enjoy doing these videos. It's been over 6.5 years, and I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Alright, well, that's all I have for this. If you haven't already, subscribe and share this video. Of course, support the channel if you can. It would be greatly appreciated. And that's all I have to say for this one. So, as usual, I like to end by saying enjoy your technology, and please don't text and drive, and be safe out there. Alright guys, we'll catch you later. Take care.